Hey fans, mostly CCRI fans. Um, right now, I got to tell you, I'm a little aggravated, uh, mainly because just trying to get things all settled here. In case I just started late there, once again, hey fans, this is Fiend for the Rhode Island Sports Network. I'm a little aggravated right now because YouTube Live is giving me all sorts of problems, but I guess that happens in the wonderful world of technology. But my my reason for going live today is to bring you some more updates on CCRI baseball and softball. Um, so why don't we get to it? A bunch of stuff to cover. Um, Obviously, as you, I think probably by now, if you have watched any of the videos, you have an idea that I have been working with Dan LeCorbinier, who is the sports information director at CCRI, to try to bring you as many CCRI baseball and softball games as possible. Try to bring you some updates as well. The reason that we've only been able to bring you one game so far, a baseball game, is obviously because of the crazy weather that we had over a period of about 2 weeks that resulted in so many postponements. So we were supposed to be actually broadcasting a baseball game this afternoon, but that game was postponed because of all the multiple cancellations and reschedulings and whatnot. So my understanding is that CCRI's opponents, the Knights' opponents yesterday and today, had to either cancel outright or reschedule. I'm not sure which. But we will also be bringing to you CCRI softball, the Lady Knights, tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 when they take on Northern Essex Community College at home at Winslow Park. So if you think of it, tune in, because we will certainly be live. All you need to do is go to the homepage on RhodeIslandSportsNetwork.com, click on the Ustream banner, and you will be able to watch the game. Now, hopefully, we have better weather. Dan tells me that the forecast is not great for tomorrow, this is getting a little old now. But the weather, if you watch the game, either the baseball game that we broadcast last Saturday, either live or on YouTube afterwards, the wind was crazy and the sun was beating down. Consequently, I ended up with a sunburn to die for, so to speak, and the upper part of my face is still healing. So I think I'm going to have to be a little bit more ready for that possibility. Maybe bring like 5,000 sunscreen or something. Be that as it may. So let's see. Anything else I want to get to before we get to? No, I don't think so. So why don't we start with baseball? The Knights, as I said, we were supposed to be broadcasting this afternoon, but we are not. Don't know yet when the next baseball game will be. I'll have to work that out with Dan. But the baseball team, interesting. The character of this team, in general, starting out at the beginning of the year, if I had to put a word on it, it would have been inconsistent. The Knights certainly can hit. There's no question about that, and I'll get to that more in a second. But the pitching was a little inconsistent. I think they were average at one point when the team was, I think, 5-6. They were averaging about 8 runs a game, but giving up 6. So obviously, it's a good thing that the team can hit, because you don't win a lot of games when your pitching staff is surrendering roughly 6 runs a game. So the pitching was a little inconsistent. Now, case in point, if you watched the game last Saturday, the starting pitcher, Jack Livingston, struggled a little at the beginning of the game. Looked like he was really trying to get that breaking ball to break lower, maybe get swing and miss in the dirt pitches. Just kind of my take on that. But eventually he settled down and kept his team in the game. And I'll deal with that more when I deal with what is really kind of an interesting character of this team. But hopefully, it seems, as the Knights are at this point, I believe they are 9-7 overall, 3-2 in Region 21 play. What did I say? 3-2? Right, 3-2 in Region 21 play. Hopefully, the pitching has settled down a little bit, and if it does, I think the Knights could take off. So hopefully, we'll be seeing that more. But the character of this team is interesting because they have the potential to put up crooked numbers offensively at any point. We've seen a few games from the Knights in which they have, I guess you could say in a way, they looked like they were dead and then came back from the dead out of nowhere. Now, if YouTube Live hadn't been giving me so many problems right now, I could actually show you some highlights, but I can't, thanks to YouTube Live. But there are 3 games that point this out. Number one was last Wednesday, the 13th, against UConn Avery Point. The Knights actually trailed 4-0, but over the course of the 5th and 6th inning, managed to put up a 5 spot and held on for a 5-4 win. The second, really kind of a miraculous game, was on last Friday, the 15th, when they played CW Post and trailed 6-1 going into the bottom of the 9th, and just held on for, came back from the dead and ended up winning that game 7-6 without even going into extras. And then finally the third example. I'm just realizing now that I'm wondering if this is just an audio update or if this is even a video update. I'm hoping it's a video update, but I'm not at this point entirely sure. Of course, we can't be sure because of, go ahead, YouTube Live. But in any event, getting back to that third game, which is the game we broadcast, the Knights were down 5-2. Now that was a doubleheader, so the doubleheaders are 7 innings. So in the bottom of the 7th, which would have been the last frame, they went into that 5-2. They put a runner on base, but they had 2 outs. They were down to their last out and still managed to tie the game, and then went into what would have been extras, okay, the 8th and the 9th, and Dylan Brooks sliced a game-winning double to right center field that enabled the Knights to win 6-5. So there's a very interesting characteristic of this men's baseball team, that they can fall behind 2-3, 4-0, or even be down by a few runs late, and because they have the potential to strike quickly, they're never really out of a game as long as their pitchers can keep them within striking distance. So anyway, moving on to softball. As I said, we will be bringing you a live doubleheader tomorrow at 3:30 versus Northern Essex Community College. If we wanted to do, we're looking at the most recent games here, obviously. If I wanted to look at the overall character of the team at this point, they certainly can hit. They're pounding out the hits. They are currently ranked 29th in team batting average by the NJCAA Division II. Okay, they're getting some solid pitching, mostly led by Courtney Sheridan, who has, as Courtney and I have gone back and forth on Twitter, a mutual hero friend in Stone Freeman. And no matter what Stone Freeman says, I made you, Stone. Just remember, I made you, and I can break you too. Obviously, I'm kidding. Stone's a great man. The defense has been good, but at times seems as though there have been some lapses that has led to some tougher innings for the team's pitchers. The team is currently 10-8 overall, 3-1 in Region 21 play. Some highlights that are worthy of mention over the course of the most recent games. Courtney Sheridan, once again, continues to impress on the mound. She recorded her 4th win of the year on the mound versus Northeastern on the 4/16, which would have been last Saturday. That was a 13-5 win over the Huskies. And then on the 18th, which would have been Monday, she recorded her first career collegiate no-hitter versus Massasoit, and that was a 20-0 win. So even if it hadn't been a no-hitter, the offense made sure that the game was not in doubt at all. Offensively, the contributions have come from everyone, but Maddie Cooper has really been putting up some numbers in the 7 against Northeastern in the second game. I do believe. Actually, no, I believe. Let me just see if I get this straight here. Actually, no, this would have been the first game against Northeastern. I believe she went for, and that was a doubleheader. I believe she went for a double, a home run, 6 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. And then in the 7-6 win over Northeastern, the second game, she put up another 3 doubles, an RBI, and a run scored in that second game. So a lot of good stuff happening for CCRI baseball and softball right now. Hopefully, as the weather continues to improve, a little consistency will come out, and we'll see some good things from the men's baseball team and the Lady Knight softball team. Just quickly in closing, since my last update cast, whatever you'd like to call it, I had written a blog on Clay Buchholz, because obviously we're trying to concentrate on Rhode Island sports here. I've got a lot of stuff on the site, but obviously we're looking at the local pro teams too. And I really, in that blog post, I had some pretty strong opinions, professionally worded opinions on Clay Buchholz, but of course then he just turned around and threw a gem, but the bullpen frittered it away. Well, a couple of points on that. I'm not fooled right now by a Clay Buchholz gem. I still feel exactly the same way about Clay Buchholz. It's early in the season, the old proverb, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But I'm just not thinking we're going to see anything other than mediocrity from Clay Buchholz as if he continues as a starting pitcher. And if we're going to have a bullpen that is constantly going to throw gas on it, no, it's not even really throwing gas on a fire. They are drilling holes in a boat because the team they've hit a little bit of a rut offensively, but the team is, generally speaking, kind of hitting well enough to stay in games. If the bullpen hadn't blown 4 games going into last night, they would have been 10-3 rather than 6-7. So my point is, any team that has a bullpen that is going to constantly be drilling holes in their own boat, along with an offense that is pretty good, may improve, but is doing enough to win games, but not leave games unquestionably in the W column, then that's a team that's going to have trouble over the course of 162 games. I will be, hopefully this weekend, if YouTube Live cooperates, having maybe a brief sports talk show with Little Fiend, who will be attending CCRI next year. Hopefully, if things work out with CCRI Sports, he will be the voice of the basketball Knights. He has a lot of experience as a play-by-play man, having done so for over the course of his 4-year high school career. He's pretty good at it, and he is my cameraman. So if you see me broadcasting a game and you see this reasonably quiet guy behind the camera, that's Little Fiend. And we're planning on doing a brief sports talk show on the Celtics and the Red Sox. He's a big bleed green Celtics guy. The Celtics being down 2-0 to the Hawks has led to some pretty quiet and depressing evenings up in his room. So we'll leave it at that. I'm sure he'll have some opinions on what's happening there. And if you think to watch, we'll probably try to set up a time for that. But you can call in to the show. You just go live on the site. You go on the homepage. There's a Skype button. You can Skype right there, and click that, and it'll send you right to us. We'd love to have you join in the conversation. And last but not least, if anybody's looking to sponsor or advertise on the Rhode Island Sports Network, please contact me through Twitter. I'd love to work that out with you. We do have 2 sponsors right now: Bishop Conley High School, which, in my opinion, is the best deal going in Catholic high school. The Catholic high school, Bishop Conley, is only 30 minutes away from the metropolitan Providence area. So it's generally the same distance as some of the other prominent Catholic high schools in Rhode Island. And it is literally half the tuition, So families who are considering, whether they should send their son or daughter to the local public school or possibly try for a private Catholic education, but you're wondering about the cost, it would really be in your best interest to look at Bishop Conley High School. The school does work out transportation issues for families, and you can call the school and set up a private tour, or if you can get a bunch of families together, you can arrange your own open house type of situation. So that's something that I would suggest families really look into. You get the same safe Catholic environment and high quality education for half the cost. And I also have on the sponsors and contributors page, Funny Farm Services, which is a full service home and property business. Anything, a list of all the services that are provided by CJ Medeiros and his staff are on the site, on that page. Anything on your property, be it outside, inside, anything that needs maintenance, fixing, you name it, he takes care of it. And he does it at rates that are far lower than anything that you'll probably find elsewhere. And I'm sure he'd even negotiate that with you. So if you want to interact with me at any time on Twitter, that'd be great. Otherwise, this is Fiend signing off for Rhode Island Sports Network, and we'll be back at you tomorrow afternoon with Lady Night Softball.